This man is a Heisman Trophy finalist, and he's also the quarterback of the top-ranked team going into the college football playoffs. He is right here on the Rich Eisen Show for the very first time. Mercedes-Benz Van's phone line. Bryce Young is here. How are you, sir? Oh, I don't. Are you there? You must be on a cell phone. You're cutting in and out. You there?
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah, it sounds kind of. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Why don't you do me a favor? Would you mind calling back right now? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, for sure. I'll call back.
Why don't you do that? There you go. There's Bryce Young. There we go. He's gonna. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like the top of the first quarter of the SEC championship game. A little shaky.
Shaky,
right? Everybody thinking it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
10-0 hole.
You know, like
down 10.
Right? You know what I mean? Like it's not going to happen, and everything that we expected, based off of the outset of there being a bad connection, that's not going to happen. But he's going to call back, and it's going to be the greatest interview we've ever had.
I think you're right.
It's just like the SEC championship game right there.
That's pretty good.
Did you like that one?
I did.
Oh, the freezing cold takes. People are like, Alabama's just can't hang with them. It's rare to see Alabama on the same field with a team that's they're far worse than.
I gotta say, it was 10-0, and I was counting my money. I'm like, yeah.
Were you really though? Come on, against Alabama?
They looked over. They looked like they couldn't do anything.
Over?
They looked like they couldn't do anything. Georgia moved right down the field. I was like, sweet. This week's done.
Dude.
What am I betting on Sunday? Like, let's go.
I guess when you're not emotionally invested, you have clearer eyes and fuller hearts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you were like, this game's over against Iowa. And I'm like, shut up. I don't want to hear another thing on this text exchange with you.
I watched a quarter. Iowa couldn't move the ball. That game was a wrap.
Right. And then I saw that game, and I'm like, Georgia's might win today. I don't know yet, man. I need to see this. And then half an hour later, that thing was wrapped.
We should have known better, though, man. Like, it's Alabama.
Well, I mean, when was the last time Alabama had been?
It
had
been like 90-something games since they were underdogs.
Okay, Bryce Young back here on the Rich Eisen Show on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line. You there, Bryce?
Yeah.
Hey.
Here we go, baby.
It sounds like you're right next to me, Bryce.
Like the third quarter.
It really does. Yeah, we were just saying this is kind of like the SEC championship game. It's a little shaky at first, but everything turns out in the end all right? Pretty much right there. Pretty much. How are you doing?
I'm blessed. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you guys?
You know what? I'm good. I'm ready to roll. I'm getting ready for Week 14 of the NFL season. Full disclosure, I'm a University of Michigan alum, so life is pretty good. At some point, if the football gods smile, maybe January 10th, we're having another conversation. You and I.
Yeah.
Yes,
sir. That's the goal.
So what is it like to be coached by Nick Saban, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to clock in and work every day, go on the field and know, you're being coached by the best. To know that that's someone that's always going to demand a high standard from all of us, from myself as an individual, us as a team. Someone that has seen everything, has coached the best, been in the biggest moments and situations, and to have the opportunity to pick his brain and take the coaching and be able to grow underneath him and the things that he chooses, the position he puts me in, the things he chooses to tell me during practice, the insight he gives me. It's the best thing you can ask for as a college player.
The insight. What is the insight? Can you give me an example of that insight?
It's all types of stuff. Whether it's little tips on, hey, if you see safety rotation like this, this is you got to expect this type of coverage. It could be situational stuff in game, as far as make sure you know the clock. This is a situation. Make sure that we don't want to give the ball back, or we want to make sure that we're burning as much clock, or this is a situation where we can take a shot because we have another, whatever it may be. Again, that's someone who's a master of situations and been in every situation, seen every coverage, seen everything. So again, for me to be able to get some of that knowledge and be able to coach by him on a daily basis, it's helped me grow tremendously.
Has he ever told you about his friend Bofa? Bryce, has he ever gone there with you on that front, or no?
See, I've been here too long to fall for something like that.
Okay, yeah, because we heard about that earlier this year from one of your colleagues. So, what was the recruiting process like with Alabama?
Yeah,
Bryce?
ironically, it was an interesting process actually.
Mm-hmm.
I first got offered by University of Alabama. It was like it was right before it was like right during the playoffs of my sophomore year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had taken a trip out here. It was like we had like a bye week right before playoffs started. Taking a trip up here, they had offered me, and this time it was like it was Tosh, coach. It was Tosh Lapoy. It was a whole different staff. And the funny thing I remember is when I first came up here, I was thinking, and again, this is me as a sophomore. I'm thinking, yeah, I'll never be there. I just didn't think, I never thought about going to the South, to the SEC, going to the South.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about, to me, I was just, I'd been in California my whole life, and I had a few offers, so I was just hoping for, maybe, I'll probably stay in the Pac-12 or maybe, something like that. And then I remember that went on. I committed to USC, and then it was about, say, like the off season leading into my senior year. Sark was there. Coach Sark was who originally recruited me, and he's from SoCal, and I had known him through, just through other coaching stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
through kind of mutual friends. I just been around him and knew who he was, of course. So then he had reached out and I started talking to him, and then it changed as far as me just, oh, this is a great offer. Obviously it's Bama. I just I'm not really locked in. I just wanted the offer. I just wanted to see the facilities to, like, this is a real possibility. This is something that can that I have to look at from a different lens. And then as I got around here, I started to kind of learn about and see the culture. I started to see, seeing the offense, seeing how it worked, and feeling like it was a good fit for me. I ended up, that's what ended up leading me into, making that decision. I ended up committing to Alabama like the fifth game of my senior year, and then it was best decision I could possibly make.
I would think so. What was it like being in a quarterback room with Mac Jones last year, Bryce?
Yeah, no, it was a huge learning experience for me. To see someone like Mac, and especially when you're talking about in a meeting room, in the quarterback room, to see how he processes, how he thinks about things, to see the preparation that he would put in and week out, to see him on the board, see how comfortable he was in the offense, see how comfortable he was talking about defenses and all that. For me, as someone who was new to college, I had thought that that was a strong suit of mine in high school, of trying to be prepared and being smart, but seeing that next level and that jump, and this is what and seeing obviously the success that Mac had last year and the team had last year, I saw, okay, this is what's required, this is standard, this is what I have to be at, to get to the high levels that I want to go. And to be able to see that firsthand, be able to pick his brain, ask him questions, learn from someone like Mac, that's an invaluable experience. So I'm grateful I had that learning opportunity.
How about this year? Do you have contact with Mac and bounce ideas off him even this year while he's going through his first remarkable professional football season?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just text who we were just texting yesterday. We've texted throughout the year, and again, anytime I get to pick his brain, ask him, hey, what's it like up there? Hey, how did you maneuver through this situation last year? Or how did you see this? Or him, just sharing his experiences, or maybe seeing something on a game, like, hey, maybe this is something that we ran or I've learned. But just to have Mac as a resource, and to be able to, even to this day, to be able to text him or call him about whatever it is he knows, and just be able to pick his brain again, even to this day and beyond, it's always going to be extremely beneficial for me to have him as a resource.
Bryce Young of the University of Alabama, right here on the Rich Eisen Show, getting set to. So you're heading to New York when? Tomorrow? Is that when you're headed to?
Tonight, late tonight.
Tonight. Very good. Safe journey there as you go to the Heisman Trophy final and the ceremony. So a question for you. Nick Saban mentioned rat poison, I'm sure. Does he refer to it as rat poison to you as he does to the media? Does he refer to that?
Yeah, I think we're all just inscribed in our brains at this point.
Okay, so he does refer, like, that's the phrase he uses with you, and normally the rat poison is what to you?
Yeah, and normally he uses it with me, he uses it with all of us, and that's normally, the media talking about, what we've done well, and normally the media, gassing us up about whatever whether it be individually, us as a team. Normally that's what he's referring to. And this past weekend it was kind of a different opportunity for us to where we were kind of getting the opposite, to where a lot of people didn't believe in us. A lot of people, a lot of people were kind of putting negative things out there in the media about us. And he kind of talked to, with that press conference after the game, calling the rat poison yummy. He was like, it was just it was
yummy.
It was a good opportunity for us to where we normally it's about blocking out the positivity in the media and blocking out hearing, oh, you're this good, you're that good. But this week it was, allowing us to use that as fuel and motivation and be able to kind of earn our respect. So this week it kind of worked in a different way than it normally does for us.
So how did Nick Saban employ the rat poison throughout the week leading up to Georgia? How did he, because again, this is, as you pointed out, a new thing where he's actually letting you in on what the media is saying as opposed to saying drown it out. It makes his job tougher for him to be a coach to make sure you're focused on the task at hand. How did he employ the rat poison this past week?
Well, yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to really tell us what people are saying. We always as a team, and he always acknowledges that it's out there. We're it's in this day and age, we all see stuff and we all hear stuff, and it's impossible and unrealistic for us to just assume we never see anything and we're never going to hear what the media says. But really, typically, it's in the past about it's just that challenge for us to push it out and to block it out, and to, even though it might be noise in the background, to make sure it stays just that as noise. But again, this week it was easier to where again we had still all heard what the media was saying, and instead of us really having to block it out and not feed into it, we kind of were able to. Use it as motivation, and again, it was an opportunity for us to earn our respect, and it's something we have to keep building off of.
So he didn't specifically point something out, like here's something.
I mean, there's a few specifics, but again, it wasn't really that necessary for us. Again, it was you hear what's going on, and we're all conscious of what's going on. It was just about us just earning that respect and getting back to the standard that we always that we're so big on. So again, it's something that we have to keep continuing to do and keep building on for the future.
All right, let's talk about you for a little bit, Bryce Young. There is no I, or there's a Y. There's no I in Bryce or Young, so there's two Ys, I guess. So at any rate, who was your quarterback growing up? Who's your guy? Who said, I want to be like this guy? And now here you are as a 20-year-old getting set to go to New York as the Heisman Trophy finalist, potential winner on a team that's top-ranked going into a college football playoff.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers has always been my favorite quarterback. As long as I've been a conscious student of the game. Aaron Rodgers has always been my favorite quarterback, someone that I've looked up to, someone that I've definitely tried to emulate and have a ton of respect for. Just seeing the stuff he can do on the field, seeing the throws he can make. A lot of the stuff that you see on Sundays from him it's crazy. So I've spent a good amount of time, watching stuff and trying to learn what I can just from, watching games on Sundays or watching YouTube cut-ups or whatever. But that's definitely, as long as I've been, like a conscious fan of the game, that's definitely been my favorite quarterback.
What do you think you have in your game that's that emulates his? The specifics. What do you think?
I try to, to emulate kind of that quick release, that ability to throw on and off platform. He does a really good job of extending plays, and a lot of times extending plays to remain a passer, which is always a fine line. And again, someone who when you do it so much, sometimes it can, then that's when you start seeing him make runs downfield that, you wonder, dang, how did he get that, that much space? And it's because of how dangerous he is, extending the play, and remaining a passer. So there's a lot of details about his game that I try to emulate, but yeah, those are definitely a few of them.
All right, speaking of emulating part of Rodgers' game, Bryce Young, I'll give you the floor. Do you want to say you own Georgia in the same way he says he owns the Bears? I'll give you that invitation. You want to say that?
Definitely not. It's a week. Every time we play a story program like that, and it's a great team, great organization. Again, it's any success we have in the past, we know that it doesn't carry over at all to anything. We have to earn each win, especially when you're talking about a program and a team as good as Georgia's. You have to earn each one of those wins, and it comes from hard work and preparation. But it's every time, and it's really any game, especially with these games coming up. Anything that happens in the past, it's a learning opportunity, and you can benefit off. You can build off what you did well, and you can learn from what you did not as well. But you don't start with any more points on the board. You have to earn a win each and every week.
Look at you.
That's with everyone.
Look at you.
Forward.
Good answer. That's good. You not only do you not accept the rat poison, you won't put any into the world. That is a well-coached individual. Well done, Bryce Young. And in that regard, I'm going to ask you a question. I got a couple more for you. Second to last one right here. I've asked this question of Tua. I've asked this question of Mac Jones. So now I get to ask it of you. What's the angriest you've ever made Nick Saban? What's the most you've ever pissed him off?
That's a good question. Let me think. I think I would say it was my freshman year, first game. I'd say it was probably my freshman year, first game, Missouri. And when I first got here, I had a big issue with carrying the ball. In high school, I would just run around with the ball with one hand on the ball. I'd have one hand on the ball almost in the pocket all the time. I'd have one hand on the ball whenever I was extending plays. And Coach Saban would yell at me every single time in a rep that I had it, and that was pretty often. So I would get yelled at from Coach. I mean, every 2 minutes. I remember there was 1 2 minute. And this is again me as a freshman. We had won the 2 minute, and I had scrambled and found someone downfield. We won, and I was super happy about it. And I turned around, and Coach isn't, and Coach has nothing positive to say. He turns around and just starts yelling at me about having the ball out. In my head, I'm thinking, like, Coach, I got away. I was fine. I had it in control, and the play worked. But he was just worried about the ball out. So fast forward, Missouri game. This is kind of the end of the game. This is my first time playing in college, and I think it's the second drive, maybe second drive. I step up, try to move to the right, and again have one hand on the ball, and someone tackles me, gets the ball out, and it's a fumble, and it's like on their 35, 40, so we have good field position. And I already knew going to when I got up what I was going to have to hear on the sideline. So I'm jogging over, and I feel I know it wasn't that bad, but I felt like Coach met me like at the middle of the field. He's livid, and rightfully so. It's something that he was preaching on since I first got there, and something I kind of just filed to the side is whatever. I'm gonna make it work. And then kind of after that, I realized like, oh, you know what? All these rings, all these great teams, this great culture. Maybe Coach knows a thing or two. Maybe I should listen. So I've been working on improving that ever since.
So do me a favor, Bryce. If you are so fortunate to win the Heisman on Saturday, you should show it to Coach and say, "See, he's got it tucked in there. All 4 points of pressure in that football right there. Point to that trophy." Would you?
Yeah, that's anytime the ball's out, good, bad, and ugly, whatever it is. You're always gonna hear it from him.
I love it. That's great. And so speaking of the Heisman, who's going with you? Who's part of your team, your entourage that's coming up there with you?
Yeah, it's going to be, as far as, like traveling with me, just, it's just going to be my parents and then, the operation is here at the university. But as far as traveling with me, on my way up there, just my mom and my dad.
That's so cool. They must be just over the moon, Bryce, right? Like this is what you as a family have been hoping for and achieving, and you're in the midst of it. Obviously on a rise. You're a 20-year-old at this, having succeeded, and to this point, that must be amazing for you and your family, Bryce. Truly. So
it's
congrats.
a blessing for sure. As a family, we've had a lot of, God's shown us a lot of favor, and I'm definitely blessed to be in the circumstance that I am, and I'm very blessed to have the parents that I do, to have a 2-parent household and to have mom and a dad that supported me and been there, by my side since literally I was born, for them to be here and accompany me to a moment as big as this, and it's I'm extremely blessed.
Bryce Young, what a pleasure to meet you. I hope this is the first of many times I get to chat with you, whether it's collegiately or, knock on whatever for the next level. Have a great, safe trip up to New York and a great weekend, and let's connect over the next several weeks if you're up for it.
Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet. That is Bryce Young of the University of Alabama. Could not be more impressed by the conversation right there.
That was incredible.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so
Does he have his head screwed on straight or what? Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.